Maybe a year and a half ago, I published some videos demonstrating usage of the Audacity OpenVino AI plugins from Intel. Noise suppression, music separation, music generation, and there's also transcription with Whisper, and the people working on the plugins also released an audio super resolution plugin. These all run locally on your hardware. No cloud, no subscription, it all runs locally with Audacity. On Windows, there's an installer. When I made those demos on Linux, you had to build those plugins from source and download the models. I actually had a script ready and it was 45 pages long, but now there's a snap package. I'm going to be using Linux Mint. Let's get to the installation process and I'll get to the editorializing and thought process and ethics in another video, maybe. This works on Intel CPUs and GPUs. I'm going to be running this install on a Tiger Lake laptop with its sort of beefed up integrated graphics. Okay, install. Sudo mv/etc/apt/preferences.d/nosnap.pref /etc/apt/preferences.d/nosnap.back. The Linux Mint block against snap, like all things in Linux, I guess probably most, is just a file. /etc/app/preferences.d/nosnap.pref is the file that disables snap packages and its ecosystem on Linux Mint. That's it. That file tells apt to refuse the snapd package. I'm not deleting it. I'm renaming it to a .back file from a .pref file with the mv or move command. If you're new to Linux, it's kind of a slick move you can do with that command. So if you ever want Mint's default behavior back, do the reverse of what you see here with the mv command. Sudo mv/etc/apt/preferences.d/nosnap.back /etc/app/preferences.d/nosnap.pref. Update the package list so apt can see snapd, which stands for Snap Daemon, the background service that manages all things snap on a system. Press enter and enter your password. I'll enter mine. Sudo apt update and install it. Sudo apt install snapd. Now, reboot. I'll be back in a moment. Back. One command. Sudo snap install Audacity. That snaps Audacity with the OpenVino bits already compiled in. Nothing extra to bolt on. This is the entire reason we're using the snap. For the plugins to use your Intel GPU, usually integrated GPU, instead of hammering your CPU, your user needs to be in the render group. Enter sudo usermod space dash lowercase a space uppercase G render space $ all caps user. This next part is for those of you with NPUs and only started showing up in Meteor Lake and later Silicon. So if you don't have that, you can skip this and log out and back in, or ideally restart your system. If you do have that, continue and wait to log out and restart after this process. Enter sudo snap install intel-npu-driver. You can log out and back in for all of this to take effect, but ideally you should restart. Here's the part people get stuck on, so don't skip this section. The AI models are not in the snap. Audacity will launch, the plugins will be there, and they'll fail until the models are installed. There's a downloader tool that ships with the snap for exactly this. There are two ways to do this. One way to do this, and the way I did this, was to download all the models at once. And that's by entering the command sudo audacity.fetch-models-batch. Alternatively, if you want to maybe save some space on your drive, you can enter a command that brings up an interactive menu that allows you to select which models to download. That command is sudo audacity.fetch-models. These downloads will take a while. Have some patience. This took about 45 minutes for me on a mid-internet connection in the United States. In all, the models are about 6.2 gigabytes altogether. Now, to enable the OpenVino module and test it. Open Audacity. When you first launch the Audacity Snap, you'll get a dialog asking whether to grant it direct ALSA access. On Linux Mint 22, I did not. Linux Mint 22 runs PipeWire as its default sound server. Giving ALSA access, at least on Linux Mint 22 and most if not all recent Ubuntu-based distros, will cause weird things to happen. So I'd say don't connect ALSA and select Don't Ask Again. Go to Edit, Preferences, and Modules. Find mod-openvino and see what it's set to. It should be set to Enabled. That's what it was set to for me. It may not be set to that for you. Set it to that if it's not, then restart Audacity. When I first tried to see if the plugins were working, I only saw that the music generation plugin was working. I was a bit at a loss, and I eventually just ran the default generation without recording it, and that seemed to get all the other plugins to work. If that happens for you, please comment. If you only get Music Gen or one of the other plugins to work and you try running it and others don't work after, please report that too. And if it's affecting a significant enough number of people, I'll take down this video because obviously this tutorial isn't scaling to be helpful. Now to test the plugins. I'm going to do something very Inception-y here. I'm going to run noise suppression on the voiceover for this video. Published some videos demonstrating usage of the Audacity OpenVino AI plugins from Intel. Noise suppression, music separation, music generation, and there's also transcription. That's the whole thing. Rename one file, install one or two snaps, download models, enable the module. Reversible anytime, rename the .back file, and Mint should go back to blocking snaps like nothing happened. That's all.